So the nutrients in the food that we get are not as high as they used to be. Most people these days, about 60 to 80% of the normal British diet is ultra-processed foods. So everybody in this country is going to be low in vitamin D. Only 22% of people think that supplements work because they take something very cheap off the shelf. First of all, they'll take it for 1 week and they don't feel any different. So they're like, well, that doesn't work. And yes, I think everybody needs supplements.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Catch Ups in My Kitchen, the podcast about all things food, health and wellness, with me, Georgia Simmons, host of the podcast. This week in my kitchen, I am joined by Sarah Carolides, who is a nutritionist and head of nutrition at Zooki, which is a supplement brand that actually works. Now, that may sound obvious, but in this episode, Sarah and I discuss that some supplements actually don't work. And that is because they either contain so little of the vitamin and mineral that you are after that you may as well just not take it, or some of the ingredients may actually be byproducts of chemicals such as petroleum. Yeah, apparently there is some supplements that contain a vitamin E that is actually from petroleum. Like, seriously, this is supposed to be a health product. Anyway, I won't give any spoilers, but this is an incredible episode where Sarah goes into detail about why we should be supplementing, why our kind of grandparents didn't supplement and now we suddenly need to supplement, and why that is, why we should focus on getting all our vitamins and minerals from food, but how that isn't always possible, the kind of basic supplements that we should be taking, when to know how we should be taking more, when we should be taking more, what brands we should go for, whether we should be going for liquid or capsules. Honestly, the supplement world is overwhelming. There's a lot of jargon, there's a lot of words, a lot of brands, a lot of options. So this episode kind of dissects all of that and is your Supplement 101 episode. There is so much value in this episode. I could have spoken to Sarah all day. We touched on collagen, magnesium, multivitamins. I hope I answered all the questions you have, but if I didn't, please reach out and I'll also ask Sarah to answer any more questions that you have. But this episode was amazing. I loved it. I really hope you do. Before we get into the episode, I have a small favor. Please could you rate this podcast? It makes such a difference. I know you might not think about rating a podcast, but honestly, it really helps with the level of guests that we can get on and the level of production that I can do with catch-ups. This is an area that I'm currently working on. It makes a huge difference. So thank you so much in advance, and I really hope you enjoy the episode. Sarah, welcome to my kitchen. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you, Georgia. I am loving the sunshine we've got finally. It's amazing.
Finally, I'm loving it as well. So do you mind giving a really quick elevator pitch? Who you are and what you do?
My name is Sarah Carolides. I have been a nutritionist for, coming up for 25 years or more now. I'm slightly different in that I'm a bit of a generalist. I've always worked with doctors. I don't like the view that nutritionists and alternative medicine is completely separate. I want to get us into the medical community. My dream is having, instead of a GP surgery, a health hub where you've got a doctor, a nutritionist, a physio, a PT, someone that teaches you how to sleep, whatever. So I'm kind of in medical mainstream, but I'm a nutritionist. I'm also the head of nutrition at Zooki.com, a fantastic British supplements company. And I have my clinic at the Lanzerhof in Mayfair in Dover Street as well. So
amazing.
Busy.
I love that health hub idea because it's so true. They're also interlinked, and sometimes you go to the doctors, and I feel sorry for doctors sometimes because you go there being like, I'm exhausted, for example, and actually you're probably deficient in something, so then you should be seeing a nutritionist, but the doctor's not going to probably be able to.
They can't do that. They haven't got the training for it. They haven't got the time for it. But there are times when we do need some medications. And my dream is that, you go to the doctor and they say, right, you've got this, so I'm going to give you this medication, but I want you to see Sarah as well so that you're off it in 6 months' time because you've learned what to do with your life and diet and everything else that you will not need it anymore.
And some medication might have like some effects that you might then need to see a nutritionist to help kind of balance those out.
Exactly.
Yeah, really good. Love that idea.
It hasn't happened yet, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so we have a quick fire round just to kick things off. So, cook in or eat out?
Oh, cook in. Love it. That's my relaxation, my creativity.
Agreed.
Love it. But I also love eating out as well.
I know.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. Favourite restaurant in London?
Do you know, I quite like Brindisa at the moment. I know it's nearby, but sitting outside, I love a bunch of mixed different things. I'd rather have 10 starters and pick rather than one main course.
Yeah.
And I love their mix. They've got some great vegetables and beans and cauliflower and interesting things, but they're all tasty as well, slightly spicy.
Yeah.
So I'm loving Brindisa at the moment.
Yeah, good one. Also, it's more sociable.
Yes.
Which I love when you're eating out.
Exactly.
Okay, go to Deliveroo.
Sorry, what do you mean?
Like takeaway. Takeaway or
okay, Lebanese.
Yeah. Okay.
Lebanese. I will get a tabbouleh. I'll get a chicken kebabby thing, some hummus. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm dipping again. I'm getting bits and pieces. But
I agree.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like if you were to make that at home, a lot of work to go into that.
Exactly.
So it's better to order it if you are going to order.
And it's things that you can keep and they're almost better the next day.
Yes. Good advice. Okay, go to cuisine.
Go to cuisine, probably Asian. I am really enjoying Sri Lankan food at the moment. We had a wonderful trip to Sri Lanka end of last year, and I call it India Light because it's not quite as spicy as Indian food. It doesn't hit you quite so hard, but you get some more delicate, subtle flavors that are really, really interesting. So I'm delving into Sri Lankan at the moment, but I think I would definitely go Asian.
Yeah, nice. I like that. Okay, what is your go-to fridge or cupboard staple, which isn't the basics?
Okay, fridge staple. I am big on making herb oils and pestos, especially when you look at a bunch of herbs and you're looking a bit sad. I will whip it up into a pesto just very, very easily with some nuts and olive oil or whatever. And also things like black olive paste. I think you can add so much taste with a paste or a pesto or a basil oil, something like that.
Yes.
So that would be in my fridge. What's in my cupboard? You know what? Tins of sardines. Those Portuguese ones that are really colourful. Always love the branding. So tins of sardines with either in tomato or oil, bit of spice, something like that. Because if you don't know what to do for lunch, a tin of that, some crackers, a bit of cucumber or something.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then what's your favourite dish to cook at home?
Okay, my favourite dish to cook at home is something when I've got a lot of people coming round. What have I done recently? Okay, we had guests at the weekend. I did a rare beef, really nice piece. I told you I went to this old butcher that I absolutely love, amazing organic food. I did a rare beef. It was an Asian salad in the middle. And then the best thing, I roasted some carrots and I made a sauce with Greek yogurt and feta on the top. And then I did some crispy chickpeas.
Oh my God, this sounds amazing.
It was really good. It was really good.
The guest must have been like, can I come every
there
week,
was
please?
nothing left on the plates.
I can
it was
imagine.
great.
I love that.
So I'm very much, I do love food. I'm always thinking about what am I doing this week for dinner? What am I? And it really is my relaxation. I look forward to that hour.
Yeah.
At the moment, we've got the Olympics. I'll put the TV on.
Yes.
And I'm chopping and I'm thinking, what am I doing with this? Need a bit of texture, need a bit of taste.
Yeah.
So that worked really well because it was something I could do a little bit of ahead. So it was kind of served at room temperature, but everyone loved it. So
I love that so much. Wow. Yeah, I'm with you. That is my relaxation. That's my hobby. Sundays, just like prepping away, heaven. TV
I think
on.
I could learn a bit of presentation. I'd love to learn a bit more presentation.
Especially when it comes to like the grazing board. Have you seen Grape and
Yes.
Fig, the gorgeous grazing boards? And
Yes.
you always see, I had them on the podcast actually. I was like, right, how do you build the perfect grazing board?
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. I love it.
You don't want to spoil it, do you? You just want to
No,
look
it's
at
so
it.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in nutrition, but
Yes.
you also are working for a supplement brand.
Yes.
So my first question is around how much can we get from food and when do we then know when we need to supplement?
Yeah, that's excellent. Ideal world, we would get everything from food. But here's the problem. Well, there's four main problems. Actually, I was thinking about this earlier. Plants don't make minerals. The soil makes the minerals. The plants take them up. And the quality of our soil is so bad compared to what it used to be 100 years ago. The reason is we have over-farmed. Do you watch Clarkson's Farm at all? You know,
bits of it, yes.
Right. You know, he was doing that thing where he actually had his soil measured and it was really low. I think it was magnesium and selenium. Those are some of the big ones. And so they needed to do a certain crop. I mean, we used to rotate crops a lot more. We've overused fertilizers. We've overused pesticides. We've overused so many chemicals on the soil, plus climate change, erosion, etc., etc. The quality of our soils is far worse than it used to be, which means the nutrients in our foodstuffs are lower than they used to be. So that's number one. Number two is the globalization of our food supply. We get our foods from all over the world. They've been in storage. They've usually been picked too early so they can make the journey from Tasmania to London or wherever they're coming from. So the nutrients in the food that we get are not as high as they used to be. Then thirdly, because of that globalization, we eat the same things all year round. Yeah. And I have a problem with a lot of clients. Athletes are always the worst, actually. They will be eating the same thing every day. They're counting their calories. They're counting their macros. Not just athletes. I had a businessman recently. He has a chef. He has a chef in the office who cooks him chicken and broccoli every single day of the year.
Also, how sad.
I know. I mean, the chef's got a great job. I mean, he just turns up every day, cooks chicken and broccoli, that's it. But the point is, because of that easy food, we can have strawberries in December, we can have asparagus in December, etc., which means that we eat a lot of the same things all year round. And then the last reason is, I'm talking about somebody that eats a lot of vegetables and fruits and thinks about what they're eating. Most people these days, about 60 to 80% of the normal British diet is ultra-processed foods. We start with Cocoa Pops for breakfast, and then we'll have a sandwich, a packet of crisps for lunch or something. Then we'll come home and get a ready meal or whatever. It is very easy to survive on a really nutrient-depleted diet in this country. They've made it easy. The food industry, my goodness, the trillions they've spent on making ultra-processed foods taste good, be cheap, be attractive, be easy. So that is the reason why, ideal world, we'd be getting everything from food. And in the old days, we had no choice. But now I would say everybody needs to stop, think about what they're eating, get a couple of tests, see what's going on, see if they're deficient, if they can. If not, think about the basics. And yes, I think everybody needs supplements.
Yeah, that is all such good points, and the whole soil thing is really interesting and not something that I've ever really thought about, because you just think, oh, a carrot has that because it's a carrot.
Yeah.
But actually it goes deeper than that.
That's right.
It's like soil and where it's come from, and like even maybe the plastic it was stored in, and when it was picked, and there's so much to it.
Yeah.
And I think we also live such busy lives now that the majority, like the average kind of person, especially in London, we are up at 5:36 and we're like on, and convenience sometimes is a priority over what vegetables in that and what have I eaten yesterday, and like that doesn't come into most people's brains.
No, it doesn't.
You and I, who are obsessed, and people listening will probably get that by the end.
Yes.
They'll we think about that all the time.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't come into people's minds if they're not obsessed or they're not foodies, or you have people who eat to live and you have people who live to eat, and it's that whole thing as well.
Yeah.
So obviously a test is like the best way to kind of work out what you need. If you don't want to do a test, or maybe you're not going to invest that money at the moment, what are the signs that your body is telling you that you need to supplement in certain areas?
I think the most obvious one, and this is the number one reason most people go to the doctor, is that they're tired all the time. You wake up, you're tired, you're dragging yourself around all day. You just know things are wrong, and it can be a bit of a vicious spiral, because then you can't be bothered to cook. And then you sort of eat the same thing. I remember this from student days. Oh my goodness, we ate badly, so badly. And then we were taking, what were those massive caffeine tablets? Pro something plus?
Oh, like Pro Plus tablets.
Pro Plus tablets, remember that? I was downing those like sweets just to try and keep myself awake during the day and get through sessions and finals and whatever. So I would say tiredness is the first one. Then your gut's probably not right. Your stomach's not happy. And if your stomach's not happy, you're not happy. And then it's mental. It's not just being tired. It's also, I'm a bit depressed. I'm just down. You just know you're not firing on all cylinders, really is the first sign. And then, of course, there are more overt symptoms such as joint aches, hair falling out, skin breaking out, anything like that, basically your body's just not right, whatever it is, then you know something's going wrong.
So then where do you go? Because I feel like now there's so much choice. I went to Whole Foods the other day, heavenly experience.
Yeah.
I went in and I was like, let's have a look at the supplement aisle. Only just because I was just really wanted to see what they had.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was overwhelmed. And I know bits and bobs about what's going on, and I do my research. I love researching different things, and
Yes.
I was overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling tired, you know your gut's not that happy, you know you need to supplement.
Yes.
Then what do you do?
Well, do you know, if you go to some of the independent health stores and pick a time when they're not too busy, you can actually get a lot of advice. They do, I know Whole Foods, Planet Organic, they do hire nutritionists or students to actually come and help out. So you can sometimes get advice in the store. Also the colleges, places like ION and CNM, they will have students who need hours to fulfill their training requisites, things like that. So sometimes you can ring up and either go to a student's clinic or something, which will be a lot cheaper. There are some great podcasts out there. You're doing
Hint,
one of them.
hint.
Hint, hint. Yes, exactly. There are some great podcasts. You can educate yourself, but going back to the basics, for instance, everybody in this country is going to be low in vitamin D. I mean, yes, we've got a lovely sunny day today, but most people are inside and probably not getting the sunshine we need. We've been taught we need to slather on the factor 50, which stops us from getting manufacturing the vitamin D we need. The colour of your skin will dictate how much vitamin D you can manufacture, things like that. So in this country, vitamin D is an absolute prerequisite. Then you could start with a multivitamin. Look at some essential fatty acids. I would think of vitamin C. If you're low in energy, tired, whatever, just start with the basics. Get a vitamin C in there. But I think if you get a little bit clever, there's actually a lot of free advice that you can find from people who really are very knowledgeable and want to share that knowledge as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. I listened to your seminar that you did, which is incredible. And actually, I'll put the link in the show notes for people to see, because it's so insightful. But there was a statistic, and it said 50% of the UK population take vitamins or supplements, but only 22% of those people believe they work, which is crazy. But actually, you kind of went on to explain that a lot of them don't work, and a lot of supplements have bad ingredients in them. And I was like, firstly, like, that just makes a lot of sense, because there is so much out there and there's a lot of marketing, but why don't a lot of them work? And how is it legal that some of them don't work?
I know, it is horrible what is in some of the supplements. And even I was shocked when we were going to do this webinar. And what I love about the webinar is we've got a founder there. And he's coming at it. You have no idea the issues to get into the market. They came in with great intentions. We're going to produce really good products that are really well absorbed and work for people. And then they came up against all these issues. Amazon pushing the price down, price pressures, supply pressures, this and that. And they've really fought to keep their quality up. And they've done it, otherwise I wouldn't be associated with them. But my goodness, it was interesting to hear what he had to say about what is out there in the industry. You walk into a Boots or I probably shouldn't mention people, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Tesco, Sainsbury's, Boots.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you buy something off the shelf, own brand, which is the cheapest one possible. You will be getting, first of all, a load of fillers, emulsifiers, stabilizers, and sweeteners and things like that you do not need. Secondly, you will probably be getting an ingredient that could have been synthetically made or is just not absorbed. And with each nutrient, there are different forms that the body can actually work with, that the body cannot work with. And the most egregious, love that word, one that I found is DL-alpha tocopherol, which is a form of vitamin E. It is a byproduct of the petroleum industry. Literally, it comes from the oil industry. DL means it's the shape. So the alpha tocopherol is the vitamin E. Okay. But DL means it's a slightly different kinked molecule to what the body needs. So the body actually can't use it. It can't fit onto our receptors. We can't use it in any form. And it's a byproduct of the petroleum industry. It comes from toluene, where it is heated up to this temperature, chemicals added to separate it out, this, that, and the other.
So it's bad for us?
Oh, yeah. I know, but it's legal because it is a form of vitamin E. And nobody's ever sort of done the research. I mean, they'll do research that says, oh, well, people take this, it's in the multivitamins, it's in Centrum and things. People take this for 3 months and they're absolutely fine. Nobody's died. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's certainly not. And this is why only 22% of people think that supplements work, because they take something very cheap off the shelf. First of all, they'll take it for 1 week and they don't feel any different. So they're like, well, that doesn't work. And then it goes to the back of the cupboard. And they're like, no, I tried that. Didn't work for me.
We've all done it.
We've all done it.
Sometimes.
I know. And secondly, the ingredients in there are probably synthetic rubbish, manufactured to be very, very cheap. Thirdly, they're just not being absorbed. The body can't absorb it. So you're literally peeing out what you took in.
Yeah.
You're almost lucky if you don't take it into the bloodstream, actually, because it is such
so bad
rubbish stuff. Yeah.
How terrible that it's marketed as a health product.
I know.
And it's a byproduct of petroleum.
Yeah.
Like, that is mental.
One of the B vitamins, the B6, I can't remember the chemical name, I did actually make a note of it, is a byproduct of coal tar. Exactly same idea, really, really cheap.
It's awful.
I know, just horrendous.
Because like one of my questions was going to be, you've got like an own brand vitamin D, and then you've got like Zooki, for example, and there's obviously different in price. And someone might think, well, why would I spend £20 if I can spend £4? And this is the answer. This is why.
Do you know what? I had exactly this experience. It's funny. I got on the tube the other day and I ran into an old friend of mine. He works in the insurance industry. And we just literally ran into each other in the same carriage on the tube. And he was like, oh, I'm so happy to see you. I've just bought these vitamins. And he held up this bag and he'd been to Boots and he had an own brand vitamin D and I think a vitamin C and something else. And I looked at him and I was like, what are you doing? You know, this is a man who will think about what bottle of wine he's going to... And he would never buy the cheapest. He wants a really lovely bottle of red with his meal in the evening or something. Or if he goes on holiday, he's not going to stay in somewhere cheap and nasty. He's going to look for a really nice hotel. But when it came to his body, when it came to his health, he went into Boots and bought the cheapest thing he could find. And I said, well, you might as well just throw those down the drain because it's absolute rubbish. And I sent him some Zookis the next day and I was like, get real. If you actually want to do something, take something proper. You do get what you pay for a lot with the supplement industry. You've got to educate yourself because there are no rules. There are very few rules out there. There are very few rules with the amount that you can have in a supplement. Gummies, for instance, very popular. You've got to heat ingredients up to a very high temperature to get them into the gummy.
Right.
And it's going to be very low amounts of the actual nutrient.
Okay.
So,
and then also, just think
great
a lot
idea.
of sugars.
Yes, well, some of them are worse than others. Some of them are natural sugars, natural flavourings and stuff. I mean, they're very attractive. Who wouldn't want to take a gummy? That's a great idea.
Sweet, isn't it?
Oh,
my vitamin D and
you're not going to get what you need. Yeah, so going back to that vitamin D, that's a really interesting one because there's vitamin D3 is what the body actually needs. That's what we generate in our skin from natural sunlight. You'll find a lot of vitamin supplements out there are vitamin D2. The body can't use that. It needs to convert them into D3 and a lot of people can't do that. The other thing is with vitamin D is that it needs to be accompanied by vitamin K2. So you want D3K2. Okay, if people can remember that.
Zooki have.
Which absolutely. And the reason you need that is that the fat-soluble vitamins work in concert. They work together. And that vitamin D will not be absorbed into the right place unless it's got the vitamin K with it. And vitamin K comes from some weird foods, things like natto, tempeh, various other things. We don't get a lot of it in our diet. Right. So take a vitamin D, please. Buy a D3 with a K2, always.
And can you, if some brands don't have them together, can you buy them separately?
You can buy them separately. If D is just the one you're thinking, vitamin D, it's such an amazing, it's not actually a vitamin, it's called a prohormone. They called it vitamin D because they discovered it after vitamin C. It is a messenger. It goes around the body and works on so many different systems. I've had people sleep better, feel more active. It works on the immune system. It helps take calcium into the bones. It is one of those things that is so important. It's also really easy to get a test for it. You can do finger prick tests from some of the private companies, or if you go to your GP and say, I am tired, they will do a vitamin D test. Then check what result you get, because the NHS, I think, will say if you're above 20, you're fine. No, you're not. You are not fine. I want you up at 80 to 100. So check what level you are. You can do that like end of the winter, end of the summer, just see where you are.
Yeah.
But it's something that I would say to people, get a good one, get a D3 plus a K2 and take it pretty much all year round, unless you're off for 2 weeks in Turkey or something, somewhere nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those ones where, spend a little bit more money.
But it's true, like you might want good quality wine or good quality restaurant, or you might not want to spend money in fast fashion, and because you want to spend it on like good quality clothes. But then why don't you spend good quality on products going into your body? It's crazy.
We have this amazing disconnect, not just in this country, where we don't realise how important food and drink is. And I say this to people a lot, if you and I were to be back here in a year's time, and I hope we are talking about something else, talking again, we'll still be talking in a year's time, over 95% of your body will have been remade. You'll have over 95% completely new cells. Now, the only way you're making those cells is from the food you eat and what you drink. There's no store in the body. There's no kind of magic warehouse or whatever that you can get those nutrients from. You're providing them with the herbs, the vegetables, the fruits, the meats, the fish, whatever it is that you're eating. That is your body taking in nutrients, so that when your brain goes, oh, I need a couple of skin cells, whatever, your liver goes, okay, great, I've got all the vitamins and nutrients you need. I can make some really good ones. Yeah. We just have this disconnect.
That is fascinating, actually.
Yeah.
And it's so true.
Yeah.
Like, when our body's repairing, if we're cut, when our hair's growing, our nails are growing, it's growing from within, and we're feeding the within from what we're having on a daily basis.
Nowhere else where we're getting it. When you're pregnant, oh my goodness, when you're pregnant, you really think about what you're eating when you're feeding for somebody else, and your child as well. We spend so much time thinking about what we're giving the baby, what we're giving the children. We don't want them to have any rubbish. And then
we're like, oh, it's only us.
It's only us.
Doesn't matter.
Exactly, yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
What about fish oils? So this is something that I've recently been looking into, because we touched on before we started recording that I was vegan and now introducing more fish, but fish oils is something, this is a funny story. My mum, when I was vegan, sent me some fish oils, and I was like, Mum, I really appreciate that you sent me the fish oils, but I'm not having fish. And she goes, oh yeah. And I just didn't even put two and two together. She just thought it was a capsule, it's not the same thing. But it was.
Yes.
But the quality of that is very, very interesting as well.
It really is. If you break a capsule open and it's rancid, if you are taking capsules, this was actually the reason Zooki got into business, I'll tell you in a minute, but if you're taking a capsule and you're burping fish later and you're like, oh God, and sort of a rancid, it means the fish oil has gone off. So you need a really fresh one. You need a really good one. There are some great companies out there. I'm happy to sort of send over some maybe suggestions. People like Nordic Naturals and whatever. Really good quality fish. Fish oils, by the way, are fantastic. It's a bit like vitamin D. They work on so many levels. We really do need those essential fatty acids. And so these are the omega-3s. And unfortunately, when you're eating processed foods and that, you get a lot more omega-6s and trans fatty acids, and you need those omega-3s to balance. The ratio has gone totally out. Cardiovascular health, skin health. You need essential fats to lose fat as well. If you're trying to lose weight and you've cut out all oils and things, not going to happen.
Your body then stores it, right?
Exactly. You need the omega-3s and the essential oils to metabolize fats and carbohydrates and all sorts. And hugely important for the brain. That's the big one. Omega-3s are an enormous part of the brain. They make the covering for all the neurons and things that all the messages are flying around in. So we really do need them. But the quality has to be great. Keep them in the fridge. And if any kind of rancidity, then they're just not working for you.
Interesting. And if someone listening is like, oh, I don't feel comfortable having fish oils because I'm not eating fish, Algae, is that one?
Algae, it's going to be harder. Yeah, I mean, look at the amounts you're taking. I usually advise people to take a gram, which is a mix of EPA and DHA. So make sure you're getting a gram of EPA and DHA, but the algae sources are quite good, definitely.
You need more of it.
Yeah, I think so. And if you are vegan, that's one thing. It's one of the things that I always advise people, just get a test every now and then, make sure you're okay, and make sure you take them consistently.
And magnesium is one that I feel like we're hearing more of at the moment. It's like magnesium for sleep, blah, blah, blah. One thing that actually I have introduced recently, because I've like kind of got into running, as everyone else in the world has. Earlier in the year, I was doing a half marathon, and I was like, you know what, I feel like I need the magnesium for repair, and I actually noticed a massive benefit on my sleep as a result. But again, there are different levels of magnesium, aren't there?
There are so many different types of magnesium. It is a fantastic nutrient, and there are different ones that work on different things. Magnesium basically is the relaxation mineral. If you had a heart attack and there was nothing else and I didn't have whatever, I would inject you with magnesium.
Oh my God, amazing.
That's what, yes, now you know you're safe.
Yeah, fine, easy.
That's what paramedics carry around with them. They will carry around magnesium for exactly that reason. So if you think about when you're in the gym, when you contract the muscle, that's calcium. When you relax it, that's magnesium. So it really helps. It relaxes blood vessels. It relaxes the brain. Just think of it as the relaxation one. Also the digestive tract. If you're constipated, a magnesium citrate can really help with that. Magnesium threonate, maybe for the brain and things. I mean, there are different types.
Yes.
But I would say a magnesium bisglycinate is really well absorbed and is a general all-rounder that will help. There are some magnesiums, oxide, different types that aren't well absorbed at all. So my go-to is a magnesium bisglycinate, which is what we do at Zooki, obviously.
Yes.
But it is a fantastic mineral that, again, that's one of the big ones from the soil. Magnesium content of vegetables has really, really dropped. You can get it from a lot of different foods, dark green, leafy veg in particular, but there's no guarantee that you're getting enough. Anyone getting muscle cramps or spasms, anything like that, I take a cocktail every evening of magnesium, collagen, and I've got a little bit of a sleep tonic in there. And it just calms me down. I don't know if it's even psychosomatic now. I will take it and I know I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
But it is a wonderful cocktail to take. Maybe some ashwagandha you want to throw in there.
Yes.
There's so many natural things that can help us get that 8 hours, and magnesium is the cornerstone of that.
I think I use a blend.
Yes.
I think there's 3 types of magnesium. Is that
Oh, there's
right?
many more.
Oh, fine. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I've got a blend of 3.
Great.
One magnesium, one begins with the G, one begins with the T.
Glycinate, threonate.
Yeah.
Keep going.
And then one with a B, which might be the other one.
Oh.
Or maybe not. Maybe not B. Anyway, I'll show you at the end.
Yes.
It's a blend of 3.
Okay.
I know that much. And then you mentioned a multivitamin. I feel like this is kind of like if in doubt, quickly grab multivitamin. What are your thoughts on a multivitamin? And I'm sure there are so many different doses.
Yeah.
Because can we get all we need in one multivitamin? Like, what's your view on that?
It's very unlikely that you as an individual will be getting all you need from a multivit. But having said that, the demographic of people, I mean, I just think, if we were talking about people running around, working, going to the gym, maybe students, older people, whatever, who aren't taking anything, your diet's not quite right. You're working too hard. You're not really concentrating on getting the right foods and things. It's a good insurance. It's an easy thing to do. That's a good place to start. You haven't got time or money to go and get properly tested. You just know things are not quite right. So let's start with a multivit, because there may be something in there that is going to just boost you, give you something that you need. It's going to help a bit.
Yeah,
it's a good starting point. Again, please don't waste your money. Go get a Centrum. Centrum are going to cancel me somehow. They're very big and got a lot of money. But anyway, go to a reputable brand. Again, I love, go to the small independent health food stores. Those people are passionate about what they do. And if you tell them what's going on, they can help you, guide you, and get you something that's good. I always love finding small brands that really concentrate on one thing. But there are some great multivitamins out there. there are different ones for different stages, maybe geared towards men, geared towards women, geared towards pregnancy, children, whatever. There are some really good ones out there, and it's a good starting place. It's a bit of insurance.
No, that's good to know. Okay, absorption is
Yes.
my next topic, because at Zooki, they have this incredible format. Love the sachets. They're great to travel with. I've been traveling recently, and they're always in my suitcase. And I was with my friend recently, we were in France, and she's like, what are you taking? I was like, oh, Zooki, here's have one. And I find when I'm on holiday, you're eating out, you aren't probably getting as many of the nutrients you get when you're at home, because you're kind of like eating more cooked food, home cooked food. You're more aware when you're eating out or eating away, you're probably not eating as much of the variety. So I always take supplements with me, but it's always in a liquid form because they're great to travel with.
Yes.
I know Zooki do both. So what's the difference between liquid and a capsule?
Well, for us, there's no difference in the absorbability. It just comes down to taste and convenience, because what Zooki has done, they have developed this liposomal encapsulation. So I'll explain that. It sounds, what on earth is that? Liposomal encapsulation was actually developed originally in about the 60s, I think, for medicines. What they found is that medicines can be quite poorly absorbed. So for anything, drug, nutrient to be absorbed, first of all, it has to get through the stomach, which is where all the acid is. The stomach is a pH of 2. It's got to kill parasites. It's got to break things down. It's got to make sure nothing's getting through that's going to harm you. So that is a real acid cauldron in the stomach. So if you've got to have either the capsule or the lip, whatever the nutrients are in, have got to survive that environment, number one. So that's the first place that a lot of supplements fall down. They just get blitzed in the stomach and they're gone. The small intestine is where the absorption happens. Now, most nutrients need something called active transport to take them through the stomach wall and into the bloodstream or the lymph system. Active transport means, very simply, that the body provides almost like a taxi. I always say it's like a taxi. The nutrient gets in the taxi and it gets taken through a protein channel and it's in the bloodstream. But the body doesn't have that many taxis. And the reason is because we were supposed to get our vitamins and minerals and nutrients from food. So you eat an orange, you're getting a certain amount of vitamin C. You're not getting 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. The body's like, whoa, that's way too much. Okay, so this is reason number 2 why a lot of supplements don't work, because they are still utilizing the body's active transport system, and the taxis just aren't there because they were built for food and not for 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. So liposomal encapsulates the nutrients in a sort of double-walled, if you go on the website and you look it up, they've done it brilliantly with the animations and things. It's these little lipids that surround the nutrient, and this means that they can bypass the protein channels and get through the gut wall into the bloodstream through other channels without using any of the taxis up or whatever. They've survived the stomach acid. They get into the small intestine and they can actually get through into the bloodstream. You're not just peeing them out. So Zooki developed this first with the liquids, and the other thing they focused on was the taste as well, because nobody wants a bad tasting liquid. So they did that first, and then very cleverly they managed to dehydrate those liquids, those little lipid bubbles, and get them into a capsule. It was a lot of work. It took them several years, but they've actually managed to do it now. It's really very clever, the whole thing. So the liquid or the capsule, it doesn't matter. What matters is the liposomal, because now you know that is actually getting into the bloodstream. And they have done studies to show that there is 4 times higher, better absorption than other normal vitamin C's out there, and glutathione and whatever it is you're concentrating on.
That's so interesting. And also, everyone's like, going back to kind of like cost again, if you're buying something that you're weeing out anyway, that's literally like putting money in the bin. Whereas at least, with the Zooki, for example, that's actually going to work and get into the system. That's really interesting. So the difference between liquid and capsule is just
your choice. If you're just taking hand luggage, take your capsules, because I had some sachets in my hand luggage last week when I was traveling, and the guy took them out and he did the whole, I don't know what he thought I was traveling with, but
that's so funny.
Yeah, I know.
Fine.
So capsules for your hand luggage, if that's what you're taking, and all the lovely liquid sachets.
Yeah,
if you're taking the bag. Yes.
Yeah, I think they are so great. Okay, that's so interesting. And back to food quickly.
Yes.
If, obviously, nutrition is kind of like your focus. If someone listening is like, okay, I want to get majority from food, I will supplement where I need to.
Yeah.
But what foods should I be eating lots of or more of or be aware of in order to get all the nutrients that I need?
Do you know what? My biggest thing, we were talking earlier, my biggest thing is variety, because you need 50 different nutrients a day to function optimally, over 50 different nutrients. We need so many minerals, phytonutrients, we need fiber, we need probiotics, we need prebiotics, we need so many different things. So the number one thing is variety. And all the time, I started before I had children, but I really got into it after I had children. I would sit down on a Sunday and do a meal plan for the week. Because when you're busy, it doesn't matter if you're single and working or you've got kids, working mum, whatever, I would plan out, okay, if I'm doing a roast chicken on a Sunday, I'm going to use the bones to make bone broth. I'm going to use the leftover chicken to maybe with some rice and vegetables on the Monday. And, it's old-fashioned. It's what our grandparents used to do. They used to make a roast on the Sunday and it would last them till about the Wednesday, and then I'm using the stock to cook my beans on Tuesday or Wednesday. So I will plan out meat, fish, veg, beans, all that kind of stuff. So variety is number one. And then you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say dark green leafy veg. I'm going to say oily fish. I want fermented foods in there. We haven't talked about the gut and the importance of the probiotics and things, but some fermented, whatever you find that you like, sauerkraut, kimchi. I love making my own. That's a great thing to do with kids.
Yeah.
By the way, they will love it. Get them to make their own kimchi or sauerkraut over the summer, and then they can come in and they can burp it every day, which is hilarious, and then put it in the fridge, and then you can add spices or even things like orange peel, lemon peels, whatever taste you like. So you've got to get some fermented foods in there. And then herbs and spices, nature's medicine cupboard.
Yeah.
Add lots of those. Lean meats, oily fish we've spoken about, and then beans and pulses. Just think variety, whatever it is, essential fats, carbs, proteins, those are in the back of your mind. Greek yogurt, we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
What a wonderful natural food.
Yogurt is fascinating.
Yes.
I feel like people go and look at yogurts now and they go like low fat, reduced fat, or added honey and raspberry, or like, no. And I was speaking to my mum about this and I was like, so family at home, they're in Somerset. That is the home of like dairy and like, I'm like, Mum, you've got amazing farms nearby, and she'll be buying like, I'm like outing her a little bit here, but she'll buy like Rachel's Greek honey yogurt, and I'm like, Mum, please just buy a lovely local honey and buy a full fat Greek yogurt and combine the two if you want your honey yogurt. So let's touch on yogurt quickly. So if you're looking at yogurt, what yogurt should we be having? I
go full fat Greek, whole natural old-fashioned experience. That is the food. That is the one that, so if you're lactose intolerant, to make a yogurt you need to ferment the dairy, which means the lactose has been used up by the bacteria to make that fermented product. So if you're lactose intolerant, you still should be okay with a proper Greek yogurt. I don't want low fat, because when they take the fat out, they replace it with chemicals and sweeteners and rubbish. So you want the original Fage, Total, whoever's doing it, that full fat. I think it's 5% now, the full one. That's what they're calling it, isn't it? And they've done that to make it look like it's lower in fat, which is so sad. That is the proper food. That's the one that's been used for centuries and centuries. And I love your comment on local honey. A local organic honey, my goodness, that's a good food. We use it all the time for people with hay fever, by the way, because if you're eating a local honey, you're getting a little taste, you're getting the local pollen, because that's what the bees have used, etc. So that can desensitize you. So it takes a while, and you need to have like a teaspoon of honey every day over the winter, all throughout. But you will definitely find that helps reduce your sensitivity to pollen the next year, because it's one of nature's medicines. So you're absolutely right. A full fat Greek, I'm saying Greek, but a full fat proper yogurt with some local honey is fantastic. I'd put some walnuts in there as well, and maybe some berries.
Yeah, 100%. And that's good for the gut and getting all those probiotics in there.
Yep.
Probiotics, am I right in saying that?
Yes, probiotics are food that contain the bacteria. Prebiotics are foods that will help the bacteria in your gut. They feed the bacteria.
Okay, and then supplementing the pro and prebiotics. When should we be doing that? Should everyone be doing that?
Probiotics, I think everyone should be doing a couple of courses a year maybe. It's a great one to take on holiday because if you're eating different foods, different times of day, we're all trying all sorts of different things and you can get a bit of, holiday tummy, something like that. So a probiotic can be a great one to take with you on holiday. If you're on a course of antibiotics and afterwards, take them. If you're taking antibiotics sort of twice a day, you want to take the probiotic in the middle of the time away from that. But antibiotics will strip out your gut, or they will certainly affect the good bacteria. So taking probiotics during a course and afterwards. There are a lot of countries where they actually give out probiotics with antibiotics now.
That's great.
I know. We're not doing it here yet, but definitely then. Whenever your stomach's feeling a bit rubbish, probiotics can help. Now, there are a lot of studies that show that probiotic supplements do not recolonize. They work when you're taking them, but they don't recolonize the gut as well as the foods. So the fermented foods will help you actually recolonize the bacteria, but probiotics are a great one to help when you need them.
Okay, interesting. And lastly, collagen. People are taking collagen now. I do take I take it in kind of like the beauty mushroom form, like tremella mushroom and that type of thing. But people are now kind of looking at different collagen sources. And again, you have liquid formats, you have so many different kind of like grass-fed, grass-finished collagen, you have marine collagen, so many collagens out there. Should we be taking collagen? If so, there are so many kind of sources of it. Where should we look?
Yeah, well, I love the comment from a dermatologist that I heard a while ago. If you have skin, if you're over 25, you should be taking collagen. So what it is, collagen's the most abundant protein in the body. It's really having a moment, isn't it? And I don't think people understand fully, but it should be having a moment because we make as much collagen as we need up until about the age of 25. After that, our production of it starts to decline very slowly at first, 1% a year or something, until for men that carries on a steady slope. Okay, but for women you're okay until you hit menopause, and then oh my goodness, it falls off a cliff. So I have a lot of menopausal ladies who will get Achilles tendon injuries, frozen shoulder, tennis elbow, all these kind of things, because collagen is not just in your skin. Collagen plumps up your skin. The word collagen comes from the Greek. Colla means glue and gen means to make glue. It is the glue that holds us together. It's in skin, it's in bones, it's in teeth, it's in tendons, ligaments. Everywhere in the body there's a structure. It's in all the organs. Collagen is there and making a big percentage of those structures. So from 25, we start to produce less of it. And until you're like 60 or something, you've got about a third of the collagen production you had when you were 25, and you're still trying to stay upright and do all the things you used to do. Supplementing it, you want to look for a hydrolyzed collagen. It's a big old molecule. Forget taking it in through the skin. That's not going to happen. It's way too big. You want to look for a supplement where the collagen has been broken down into peptides. You've got your bovine, which is from cows. You've got your marine. Marine is mostly type 1, and that is the type that is for skin, bones, tendons as well. Bovine has more types in there, type 2 and type 3. 90% of the collagen in the body is type 1. So a lot of people are happier with the marine. It's maybe slightly better absorbed. The source can be kind of maybe better as well. I mean, if you're taking a bovine, a lot of it can come from rubbish. You've got to be really careful about the source. You want grass-fed, natural, not just from the tail of some animal that's been kept in a stable its whole life, etc., etc. So you've got to be careful with your source. You want it to be hydrolyzed, but I do think that collagen is one of the absolute essentials to keep the body, because it's not just the skin, it's about the muscles. It's taking off in gym world as well. I think people are starting to supplement there too. It's not a complete protein. It is a protein. It's not quite complete. It's missing tryptophan. But it is something that you need for your muscles, your tendons, everything.
Yeah.
So I absolutely put men and women onto it.
Yeah. Okay. Really interesting. And if you're plant-based, where would you
Yeah,
go?
if you're plant-based, no. So collagen is, by definition, it's from mammals and fish and animals. You can get it from, there's an eggshell collagen that they're working on, and they're also working on collagens from mushrooms.
Yeah.
So watch this space. They haven't, I mean, vegan collagen does not exist.
No.
The vegan collagens, what they're doing is they're putting the 3 amino acids that mostly make up collagen, glycine, proline, hydroxyproline. They take those 3 amino acids from vegetable sources, and then they just put them in with vitamin C and maybe some hyaluronic acid and other things that are good for promoting the body's own production. But there's no studies to say that those 3 individual amino acids will go into the body and say, oh, let's make collagen.
Yeah. That's where I'm at the moment. I do
Yeah.
get it from the mushroom form.
Yes.
Dirty beauty mushroom.
Yeah.
Or I had another company send me a blend, a vegan collagen blend, and it had lion's mane and some other mushroom sources and other things, but
It's not collagen.
it's not collagen.
No.
So it's really hard, and it actually says on the packet vegan collagen, and I was like,
I know.
does that exist?
I'm not sure how they're getting away with that, to be honest.
No.
It's a vegan
So-
collagen promoter. Maybe
Yeah.
that's, you could say
Yeah.
that. But I think at the moment you've got to go with a really good, I would recommend a really good marine
Fine.
source. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Honestly, I feel like we could just talk all
I know,
day.
we could.
We really could.
We
But
could.
we do have a final question.
Yes.
Which I ask everyone. It's all back to food again. And that would be, what would your last meal be? Starter, main course, and dessert.
We
I know.
play this in my family, okay, but when we play it, we're allowed to move around the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So my starter is very, very fresh prawns on the beach of a particular Greek island called Paros. And it's a particular restaurant where you sit on the water and you're just having fresh prawns there. Then I'm moving to Japan for my main course because I'm just time traveling.
Yeah.
And my main course is going to be fish, actually. It's going to be really nice fish. I don't know where. I've never been to Japan, so I haven't quite got the location.
Fine,
but I do love some sushi and things like that. Can I have 4 courses as
Yes,
well? Okay,
definitely.
good. Oh, good. Because now I'm coming back to the UK and I'm having a massive roast with my family. That's the main. And I've got to cook the roast potatoes because that's just the way we like them.
Yeah.
And then for dessert, I want to go somewhere mad like Las Vegas which I've never been to.
No, but this is really, really fun. I'm loving this. This is the great last day.
And I'm going to be in a penthouse with amazing views. And I do love a tiramisu, something like that.
Lovely.
So my last
Your last meal is insane. And a drink to go with it, maybe.
Ooh, yeah, I'm starting with a Negroni.
Lovely. Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm in Italy, aren't I?
We're back in Italy now.
I'm wearing Dolce & Gabbana and I'm in Capri, which
Divine. I love it.
having a Negroni. And then what am I drinking during the meal? Oh, it's got to be sake with the sushi.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not really a wine person. I'm afraid.
I struggle sometimes on wine.
Maybe, I tell you what, there are some lovely gin and tonics coming out. I'm quite enjoying all the different...
Yes.
So maybe that's in Las Vegas. Am I having that there?
Yeah, with the maybe with the tiramisu, just to kind of like jazz it up a bit.
Okay, and then am I allowed a petit four like after dinner?
Yes.
Right, Northern Lights.
Oh, I love it. Just to end magically with ending with the Northern Lights.
Magically in the Arctic Circle with some little chocolates and things with the Northern Lights. Just
and like a fresh mint tea, just or like
and a bunch of husky puppies.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Amazing. Sarah, thank you so much for coming on. I feel like this was like a big hit on like supplement 101. Like,
great.
Let's try and get the best supplements we can.
Yeah.
And Zooki are doing an incredible job at providing really good quality that work. I mean, the fact that some vitamins don't work is just mental.
I know.
So hopefully this has given everyone like the boost they need to go out, get the right supplements, speak to a local health food shop and just, get the right stuff.
Or just contact Zooki. We've got a wonderful customer service team who, if anybody's got any queries, what might be right for them, please contact me through Zooki or get hold of the customer service team. I know they'd love to help.
That's so helpful. Well, thank you so much for coming. I've loved it.
You're really welcome.